man kneels in a pit in China, staring at a soldier's face. Pink skin, black hair, painted eyes, and the color is peeling off while he watches. History handed him a face that was dying in real time and said, "Hold my scroll." Some things weren't lost. They were hidden, sealed up, walled in, and left in the dark by people who really did not want you to look in. Today we're opening 3 of them. 2 we probably shouldn't have. And 1 is still sitting under a hill in China right now untouched because the smartest people alive have decided not to go in. That last one is the reason this video exists. We're coming back to it. It's March 1974 in Shaanxi province in northern China, and there's a drought. A farmer called Yang Zhifa walks out to a patch of scrub near a hill with his brothers and a neighbor, and they start digging a well. It's a drought, they want water, cause obviously. About 6 feet down, the shovel hits something that isn't rock. It's a head. Not a bone, baked clay, a life-sized human head with a face on it, staring up out of the dirt at a group of extremely confused men holding shovels. In 1974, some farmers went looking for water and dug up an entire army. They kept going, more heads, arms, a torso, bits of bronze weapon, floor tiles. This is the point where a normal person fills the hole back in and finds a different field. Serious question, if you dug up a stone man in your garden, how long before you stopped digging? Because these guys did not stop, and what they'd walked into is now one of the biggest finds in the history of archaeology. A local museum worker called Zhao Kangmin came out, looked at the broken pieces, and worked out what they were. Soldiers from the Qing dynasty, over 2,000 years old. Proper digging started that July, and it kept going and going, because it wasn't one soldier, it was an entire army, thousands of them, standing in formation in long trenches facing east, infantry, archers, horses, chariots, every face different. They still hadn't found any water though. Here's the part nobody tells you. They weren't grey. The Terracotta Army was painted. You have never seen the color, and neither has almost anyone else. Every one of those soldiers was painted. Skin tones, black hair, red ribbons, green pants, purple sleeves. Under the paint sat a thin layer of raw lacquer, gluing the color onto the clay. Down in the dark, damp, stable soil, that lacquer stayed soft for 2,000 years. Then somebody opened the roof. Dry air hits the lacquer and the lacquer loses its moisture. One study actually timed it. It starts to curl in about 15 seconds, and inside 4 minutes it's flaking off the clay, taking the paint with it. 4 minutes. Color that survived 22 centuries, gone in less time than it takes to boil an egg. And the crews digging in the 70s had no way to stop it. They're watching the exact thing they'd come to find evaporate in front of them. Some of those faces were only ever seen in color by a handful of people, then never again. So they changed the rules. Now, the moment a painted figure is exposed, conservators spray it to keep the lacquer wet, then lock that layer down before it can lift. They put the statue on life support the second it wakes up. And China is not the only place that learned this the hard way, because there's a cave in France where the thing wrecking the art was people breathing. Lascaux, found in 1940 by teenagers, inside horses, bulls, deers, painted 17,000 years ago and preserved perfectly because the cave had sealed itself off. Then it opened as a tourist site. A cave in France survived 17,000 years, then tourists breathed on it. Roughly 1 million people walked through it between 1948 and 1963, up to 1,200 a day. Every single one of them exhaling warm air, water vapor, and carbon dioxide. It was enough to shift the temperature and the humidity, and the balance that had held for 17,000 years quietly broke. Green algae crept across the walls, and the staff started calling it the green sickness. After that came white calcite films and then black mold. 17,000 years of nothing undone in 15 years of admiring it. In 1963, the French government shut the cave and almost nobody goes in now. The Lascaux that tourists visit is a replica today. They rebuilt the shape of the chamber and copied the paintings line for line so that people could keep looking at horses that the real cave can no longer survive being looked at. We built a fake cave so we could stop standing in the real one. If you're still here after that, you're my kind of person. Hit the subscribe button, it's free and it makes the algorithm nervous. Right. The hill, because the clay army isn't the tomb, it's the security detail. It stands about a mile east of the actual burial mound in formation facing the direction the army used to come from. The mound itself is still shut. Here's what a historian called Sima Qian wrote about the inside of it about a century after it was sealed. 700,000 conscripts sent to build it, diggers going down through 3 underground springs, then pouring molten bronze to seal the floor. A ceiling made to look like the night sky, a model of the whole empire laid out underneath it. Rivers and sea recreated in flowing liquid mercury and kept moving by machines. And crossbows, rigged to fire on their own at anyone who got close. Then the ending. Once the emperor was inside, the inner gate was shut and the outer gate was dropped. The craftsmen who built the mechanism were still in there. The historian's line is that not one of them came out. Now, for a long time, everyone filled this under ancient guy exaggerating. A mercury river system is exactly the sort of thing you'd invent, except people went and tested the soil. Surveys over the mound found mercury sitting far above the natural background level, a strong, sharply defined anomaly concentrated in the middle, and it isn't scattered randomly. It roughly tracks where the historians said the rivers and the sea were. So at minimum, there is a lot of mercury under that hill, arranged in a shape, which means the man was not making it up, which raises a slightly upsetting question about the crossbows. So why has nobody opened it? Partly the mercury, mostly the paint. China's Heritage Authority has kept the central tomb closed while it works out how to protect whatever is inside, because everybody involved watched that lesson play out in real time, one field over. You get one shot, open it wrong, and whatever is down there does what the paint did already. And this is the bit that reframed the whole subject for me. Digging is destruction. Careful, documented, well-meant destruction, but you can only take a site apart once, and there is no undo button. So archaeologists now leave parts of sites in the ground on purpose, not because they aren't curious, but because they know that in 50 years somebody will have tools that can read things we would wreck today. Think about what that actually costs a person. You're standing on the biggest question of your career, you have the funding, the permit, and the shovel, and the right move is to just walk away and hand it to somebody who isn't even born yet. Some things aren't hidden from us, they're just being saved for later. So, the face from the start, that was real. That color is gone and it isn't coming back. The cave in France is shut and the hill in China is still sealed on purpose and might stay sealed longer than we are alive. Oh, and the farmers, Yang Zhifa and the rest of them, they set out that morning to find water. They never found any. They found an army instead, which is worse for irrigation, in my opinion at least. So yeah, you just held my scroll for the entirety of this video over a hole with no water in it. Drop a like if the 4-minute paint thing genuinely upset you and tell me in the comments, should they open that tomb, yes or no? I want to watch that argument happen in the comments in real time. Subscribe because this is episode 1 and there's a list. Next time we're doing the rooms you needed permission from a god to walk into, and what happened to the people who walked in anyways without a permission. And that one's definitely worse than this one. Until then, hold my scroll and give it a gentle stroke as well.